Hello folks, just to do a quick video, just talk about a few bits and pieces. Romans 5:3-4 is talking about suffering leads to perseverance, which leads to character, which leads to hope. And that's really important. So I thought I'd start with that first. It's really important because there's a lot of people who have gone through a lot of suffering. And they ask themselves why all the time. Part of the reason why is because there's a job for you. God has a role for you, but He's got to develop you first. So that's important to understand. You're supposed to go from suffering to perseverance, from perseverance to character, developing your character, and from developing your character develops hope. But because along that journey, and it's supposed to be a journey, along that journey, you learn to trust God because you learn that God is in it. So why is it suffering in the first place? Well, the reason why it's suffering in the first place is because when we come to God with all the issues we've developed in our life beforehand. And we can be quite resistant to letting things go, or to being taught, or to facing any sort of change. And so therefore, quite often, the doing of these things resolves a little bit more strain than maybe it should do. Again, that to me is a lot of that's down to the teaching that when we first come in. I mean, it should be identifiable very, very quickly. When someone first comes into the kingdom, is this person a person that God's going to deal with most of their issues immediately, or are they going to have to go on a journey? If they're going to have to go on a journey, let's help them to understand what that's all about. Well, is that something that's done with people that first come into the kingdom? Nope. But generally it is understandable straight away because, as I say, I've been in situations, and Lorna in the church on Tuesday, and the thing we did then spoke about her situation, and that she's gone through that suffering, perseverance, character, hope situation. But she witnessed other people getting all their issues dealt with just like that. When they first gave their life to God, they were clean of this and that and the other. Depression went, alcoholism went, drug addiction went, sexual lust went. All the things that they had trouble with just went. But some people have to go on a journey. And I've said time and time before that you only go on a journey, you only have to go through that. That's called extreme training. The people that have the issues dealt with straight away, they couldn't handle that journey. That's why they have that stuff dealt with straight away. They couldn't cope with the journey. You're going on a journey because God is training you for something that's going to need you to have that character. That strength that you develop from the journey. You're going to need that for the job that God has for you. Is that always going to be the case? No, but it should be. The reason why it's not always going to be the case is because a lot of people give up. They don't continue. They stop at some point. And again, that's because they weren't educated that this is what their life is going to be. That they are going to go on a journey, but they're going on a journey for a reason. And no matter how much suffering you go through. And put it this way, I was in that situation during the stand where I was doing audios for her, for the woman that I thought would be my wife. And in the audios, I said, and I didn't realise at the time, but I said not to her. I was saying it to the one that's going to be that one that I'm going to be in love with. And initially, that's father. That wasn't her, that's father. But what I was saying was I'll be willing to go through all the suffering I've gone through, not just as a Christian, but also as a child, as a young adult, growing through to where I am now. All that suffering I'll be willing to go through again and again and again, knowing that I come to this point. Knowing that I come to this, I can say to that kid that went through that stuff, don't worry about it, kid. What you're going to get when you're older is going to make all this seem like nothing. That relationship, that love that you're going to get. Now, I thought at the time it was with a woman. But you see, it's quite possible that I'm not supposed to have a wife. That I don't need one. That's quite possible. Because I'm now in love with God, and maybe that's what it's supposed to be. Maybe that's what God was telling me during that time. That I'm going to be in love, but I'm going to be in love with Him rather than have another person. Maybe that is the case. Do I think it is? I don't know, and I don't really care. Right now. I don't. Because I'm at the point of understanding that, I have hopes for things that are huge. Huge. I'm not hoping for little things. Because even the points of hope that I spoke about in logical hope, they're pretty big. But they're not the biggest things that I have hope for. Oh, no. I've spoken, if you go back all through my videos, certainly from that period of time, say, from October last year, go through the videos and you'll see the things that I have incredible hope for. But that's come from all of that. From that suffering, the perseverance, the character building, and the hope. Because even if you go through my early walk, where I was believing in God for things, and standing on the things I was believing in God for, and at one point I was 0 success, 11 fails, and yet I kept on hoping, especially for what that stand was for, what I understood it was for. I kept on hoping for that until the last hour. Why? Well, part of the reason why is because obviously you stood on something for 8 months, you might as well stand on it for the last hour. That's part of it. It is sort of sod's law, well, I might as well. But part of it is also a point of understanding, with God, anything is possible. Absolutely and totally anything is possible. By the end of that stand, I had no doubt whatsoever that with God, absolutely anything is possible. And even though I'd had no successes with hope, what I've been hoping for, stepping out in faith in, I wasn't concerned about that. Because I'm not trusting in... Well, I did videos talking about the fact that if you're going to make cakes, if your understanding of making or becoming a chef is that every single thing you have to make, or every single thing you make has to be absolutely perfect, the best cake you can ever make. Everyone has to be that, otherwise you won't cook again. There's no point buying the apron and all of the knives and tools and stuff you're going to need to be a chef, because you're going to be unsuccessful. You've got to understand that in being a chef there's going to be failures, and it's quite likely your initial ones are going to be failures. When I started making the fruitcake again, the first 2, probably 3, weren't great. They're a bit burnt. The 4th one, perfect. Although not quite. A little bit more time in the oven would have been perfect for that one. But it was moist, really moist, beautiful. But it took a few goes to get. with regards to hope and understanding correctly when God is telling you, because obviously your mind tells you some stuff and the devil tells you some stuff, and so therefore you need to be able to thin all that stuff out. But are you willing to step out in hope in all these things, knowing you're going to miss, and it might be 5 misses before you get success, it might be 10, might be 20, it might be 200. But if it's 200, then God really is training you for something. Yeah? Because even that, learning to walk in faith, learning to walk in hope, learning to trust the Lord and the Father and to stand on His word, that itself is suffering, perseverance, character, hope. That itself is a journey. That's the point. If you're willing to go on the journey, if you understand the journey, you're willing to go on the journey, my God, the journey is so worthwhile. It really is just incredible. I mean, my journey ended with regard to the stand, and it ended beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. But, initially I said I wouldn't do it again, and then after a day I said, no, I would. Father, please, tell me to stand on that again. I will do so. Please just tell me to stand on it again. I will absolutely do it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. A lot of people see the word suffering and think that that's such a terrible thing. Oh, it's not. It isn't. So I fully believe part of the reason why we suffer is because of the fact that we resist so much to that change coming. If we didn't resist so much, would it be as bad in the way of suffering? No. Well, as I say, the way that God does things is that He will allow things to come into your life to try and teach you something. And if you don't learn, He's got to allow something else, maybe a little bit worse, to come into your life to try and teach you. And if you still don't learn, then there may be one other thing that He's going to try that's going to be a lot worse, because He's trying to get the message across to you. And if you'd learned the first time, it would be a lot easier. So the suffering is more down to us than it is down to God. And again, I would say also with regards to the suffering, it is perceived suffering based upon the fact that we see it as a curse, but it's actually a blessing. I spoke about that quite a lot towards the end of the stand. About situations where that had happened that I'd seen at the start of it. I thought it was a curse, but then I realised, no, this is a blessing because God is using this. Yeah. I mean, this whole situation of my dogs being taken away, I saw as a curse. It's my family. It's the only family that I've ever really had, and they've been taken away from me. And my God, did that hurt. Really hurt. Yeah. But it wasn't long. It was only about 10 days that I realised, this is definitely God doing this. And I saw this as a curse. No, this is God doing this purely out of love. And this is God doing this because He's saying that He's going to get me to the place that He wants me to be. Because 20 years ago He said, now is not your time. And it can't be my time unless I'm changed by Him. And yeah, that's what that was about. And so the immense beauty of that, just incredible, stunning, amazing beauty. Imagine for a second, God has seen me go through all the stuff that I've gone through for all those years, especially as a kid. Saw me go through all that. Then he sees me get my family and sees that I love them to bits and I wouldn't want to ever be without them. And I've had these sort of nightmares of, when one of them dies, how horrendous that's going to be to lose them. That I've gone through that, but I've had the plan. Okay, if I keep one of their litter, of their last litter, and then get a male, so we can have the grand puppies, of the dogs. Then when they go, I've got part of them still to remember them by. But then all of them were taken, even the grand puppies were taken. All of them were taken. So it's like, so imagine Father seeing that and seeing how hurt I was during that. I mean, that's love. Doing that to someone you love. So you can turn the life around. Knowing that that's what you need to do, but it's going to hurt that person. Now that's love, isn't it, really? And so when you talk about Romans 5:3-4, you're talking about incredible love. That Father is taking you on a journey to develop you and develop your character. And it's such an incredible honour. And put it this way, this is what young believers need to understand. There's a young lady who's only recently come to the church and she's had a lot of pain in her past. She still seems to be in a bit of pain. I'd love for her to be able to hear something like this. I think this will be an incredible blessing to her and to other people who are on journeys, because they need to understand that it really is an absolute honour, because God is paying attention to you. God is going to take you on a journey where He is going to shape you. He is going to mould you. He's going to shape you for a job that He has for you. Understand the incredible blessing that you are going to receive. And that makes going through whatever you're going to go through so much easier, doesn't it? I said previously, when you talk about the sons of God and how they're going to walk things out, they will understand that nothing can touch you, nothing at all, unless Father wants it to. And if He wants that to touch you, He wants that to touch you as a blessing to you. Even if that thing's going to be hard, that's going to be a blessing to you. That's going to help to, again, deal with your character. Because there's going to be a lot of sons of God who don't have a strong character, because they've never been through a journey. So therefore, initially on their walk, they may have to go through things to develop their character. And even people that have gone through things may still have to go through things. For little fine tweaks in the personality and character of people. God wants you to be, put it this way, if there's going to be is it 1,000-year reign or 10,000-year reign, that thing, afterwards? If we're alive when that starts, then we won't age after that. And we will be rulers in that. So he wants us to be of the right character, the right personality, the right nature, so that we can be rulers and kings during his time on the earth, during a time when Yeshua comes back and rules. Yeah. So those of you that have been through the harshest of things, understand, it's quite likely you're supposed to be a lord or you're supposed to be a king in that time. Yeah? There's a lot of people in ministry now who are getting their just rewards now. Yeah, that's what I say. Look at the fact of, people in church, they bow down to pastors. Well, they've had their reward. Oh, they have. If people have been bowing down to them, that's their reward. They've had it. They won't be a lord or a king during that time. They won't have anyone bowing down to them. They'll be the ones bowing down to people. Yeah. Oh, indeed. So, yeah. Yeah, count suffering as a blessing. Count all of that as a blessing because it's leading to something. What exactly it's leading to, don't know. What's going to be your job, what's going to be your destination, well, that's between you and God, really. But if you have to go through a lot, expect incredible, beautiful, great, wonderful things to be happening in your future. Because the more you go through, the more you should. The problem, as I said, with that is if we go through stuff because of our own stupidity, you can't necessarily count that as what you had to go through. What you had to go through, if that was great, rather than what we went through because of our own stupidity, then you can pretty much say that your destination should be amazing. So be encouraged, be blessed, and just know that God is on your side. You're not on this journey alone. It's not a case where Yeshua is walking with you on the sand. That may be the case in some circumstances. But Father is with you. Father knows exactly what you're going through. He knows exactly what's ahead. He knows what's there that could trip you up. And he wants to lead and guide you. And he wants you to know that when you fall, you're not going to hit the ground. That's something I learned during my stand. When you fall, because so many times I said to Father, you let me fall again. And after a while, Father said, but did you ever hit the ground? No. Yeah. It's stunning. Stunningly beautiful. So there you go. I'm going to leave you to it at that point. You take care. God bless. Have a fantastic week. And enjoy your journey. And just know that God is with you. Take care. God bless. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.